Hi, my name is Natalie, and this is Natalie Lawyer Chick. I'll be discussing popular topics through a legal lens. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Hey YouTube, how are you doing? My name is Natalie. I'm a criminal defense attorney. Today I'm going to be reacting to a video that has been highly requested by you guys. This is a recent breaking event. It is a Army lieutenant being arrested. I have not watched the video as of yet. I've kind of avoided watching it, but I'm gonna watch it and kind of give you guys a legal analysis of what's happening. I'm gonna give it more of a clinical breakdown of what's going on blow by blow.
Driver, roll the window down. Felony traffic stop. Put your hands out the window. Put your hands out the window. Turn the vehicle off. Put your hands out the window.
Okay, I see the hands. You can't tell. I could tell. I could see the hands. The hands are out of the window.
Put your hands out the window and turn the vehicle off.
The hands are out of the window. I can see them. Okay, the vehicle's off.
Put your hands out the window. He's not compliant, Judge.
Yes, he is. His hands are out of the window.
Let me see your hands. How many occupants are
Clearly, his hands are out of the window. What's wrong with him?
in the vehicle?
What's going on?
How many occupants are in your vehicle?
It's only myself. Why are your weapons drawn? What's going
Open
on?
the door slowly. Step out. Open the door.
I'm not getting out the vehicle. What's going on?
Get out the car. Open the door slowly and get out.
What's going on?
Get out of the car now. Open the door and get out the car.
He's in uniform. He should get out of the car. He should get out of the car. I'm wondering the reason for this stop.
Keep your hands outside the window.
They are.
Keep your hands outside the window.
My hands are right here. What's going
Get out
on?
of the car now. Get out of the car.
What's
now.
going on?
Get out of the car now.
And this is why where I live, it's required, and also in Washington, D.C., it is required that officers tell citizens the reason for the stop. It makes people more compliant, number one. It cuts down on situations like this. It is dumb. It's stupid not to tell the person the reason for the stop because it only increases your legitimacy if you're like, this is the reason for the stop. I have a legal reason to be doing this. Otherwise, a lot of people do suspect that you're just, stopping them for no reason with guns drawn. We're in a well-lit area. You see that this is a person that's in uniform. You can see his arm. You can see his hands are outside of the car like you asked him to be. Why don't you just tell him the reason for the traffic stop? What's the reason for not providing it?
Get out of the car now.
I'm serving this country and this is how I'm treated?
Guess what? I'm a veteran too. I'm going to obey. Get out of the car.
So you know that he's a service person in uniform. Why are you drawing down your gun on him? Why are you drawing down your gun on him? Two officers that are armed with their guns drawn for a traffic stop of a uniformed service person. Do I think the service person the lieutenant should get out of the car? Yes, I do think he should have gotten out of the car. However, I can understand why he wouldn't. He's probably afraid that they're going to try and shoot him. He's probably afraid they're going to try and shoot him because they can't. First of all, they're yelling at him at the beginning of the stop to put his hands outside the car. He has his hands outside the car, but they're too hyped to be able to tell what's going on. They're still yelling and screaming at him, giving him instructions to do something that he's already done. So this tells me that I'm dealing with irrational people.
What's going
Get
on?
out of the car now.
Tell him the reason for the stop.
What's going on?
What's going on? You're fixing to ride the light, son.
What?
Sorry, what?
Get out of the car now.
What's going
Get out of the
on?
car now.
What is the reason?
Get out of the car. Son,
Why?
Just get out of the car. Work with us and we'll talk to you. Get out of the car.
Why?
Receive an order. Obey it.
You have to give lawful orders. Just because you're a police officer doesn't mean you get to yell at people to obey you. You're not his master. He's not a slave. Okay? You have to tell someone, a lawful order. A lawful order, not an unlawful order, something that you just made up.
I'm honestly afraid to get out. Can I?
Yeah, you should be.
He should be?
What did I do?
Get out now.
His behavior is completely unprofessional, rude, and disrespectful. You have 2 armed police with their guns pointed at this guy. There is no reason so far that I can think to see this person as a threat. There's nothing that he's said or done that makes him seem like a threat. Is he not listening to them saying for him to get out of the car? Yes. In my opinion, do I think he should get out of the car? Yes. That's what I counsel clients to do. But I don't see that we even have a legal traffic stop here, And I always say, don't fight the case with the police, fight the case with the judge. But there does come a certain point in time where you have to save your own life. And these guys seem dangerous. They're hyped, especially the older one. Look at how he has his gun turned like that. He's holding it like he's a gangster instead of like holding it like it's a service weapon. It's very disturbing.
I have not committed any crimes.
You're being stopped for a traffic violation. You're not cooperating at this point.
What's the traffic violation?
For a traffic.
You're being detained. Okay? You're being detained.
Is this an arrestable traffic? What's the traffic violation that you're stopping him for? Is it an arrestable traffic violation? Because right now this man is being placed under arrest and I still haven't heard probable cause for the arrest. If it's a citation only offense and you haven't even given him the chance to provide his identification, what is the reason? So right now, where we are is that this traffic stop has merged from a traffic stop into a full-blown arrest. In order to arrest someone, an officer has to have probable cause for an arrest. In order to stop someone, if we step this back, you have to have reasonable, articulable suspicion that criminal activity is afoot in order to make a traffic stop. I don't know at this point what the reason for the traffic stop is because they refuse to articulate what the reason for the traffic stop is. They didn't even articulate what the reason for the traffic stop was on their dispatch. To dispatch, they said, we have a felony traffic stop. That's a nebulous claim. There are certain things that can elevate a traffic stop from a regular misdemeanor or citable traffic stop into a felony traffic stop. And usually you don't know that until you've approached the driver and something has actually occurred to make it felony, right? So again, I really doubt that he even has a felony traffic stop, but he's radioing in something more serious than what it appears to be here. So whatever the reason for the traffic stop is, let's assume that there's a valid reason for the traffic stop. Let's just assume that, okay? Whatever that is, you're not actually investigating the purpose of the traffic stop. You haven't asked him for license. You haven't asked him for registration. You're supposed to do those things in order to effectuate the purpose of the traffic stop. And although you can remove someone from the vehicle for officer safety, according to state law, statute, case law, all those things, you have to have indicia of the dangerousness of the suspect in order to do that. There are no articulable indicias of dangerousness here. This person has not threatened them. He has had his hands outside of the car. He is dressed in a United States military uniform. That should dispel basically any fear that they would have that he would do something that's untoward if he's uniformed at the time. He doesn't want to get in trouble while he's in his uniform. So you have not stated any legal basis for why you want this person to be removed from the vehicle. Basically, you are effectuating an arrest because he is clearly not free to leave. He is being detained past the point of just the purpose of the traffic stop, but you don't have any probable cause for any arrestable criminal offense in order to make this a legal arrest. So officers can place you under arrest without saying the words, "You're under arrest, you have the right to remain silent." They can place you under arrest by putting handcuffs on you. They can place you under arrest by drawing guns on you. They can place you under arrest by making it so that you're no longer free to leave, making it that they're having a show of police force, asking you questions. All of those behaviors can place a person under arrest, and you need probable cause for that, but there's no probable cause here that I've seen so far. All I see is that they've stopped him for a traffic citation, and instead of pursuing the purpose of the traffic citation, they drew down guns on him. I fail to see legally how they're in the right.
For a traffic violation, I do not have to get out the vehicle.
Driver beware. The lieutenant is incorrect here. Across the country, as has been found by the Supreme Court, Drivers do have to get out of the vehicle when ordered to do so by a police officer during a lawful traffic stop. I will get into it later why this was an unlawful traffic stop based on my research. But either way, it is always best practices to get out of the vehicle when told to do so by the police. Failing to do so can lead to very dangerous results. I'll point you to Harris v. Commonwealth, 27 VA App 554. The police have the authority over the driver and the passengers during the pendency of a traffic stop. However, it has to be a lawful traffic stop, and the officers can use weapons for officer safety. However, there have to be indications of dangerousness.
You haven't even told me why I'm being stopped.
What are you doing?
Get out of the car now. Get out of the car.
Get your hands off me.
What are you doing? Why are you doing this? What is the reason for this arrest? And again, what is your indication that he's dangerous that would justify you removing him from the car at gunpoint? What has he done?
Get your hands off me. Get your hands off me. Get your hands off me. I didn't do anything. Don't do that.
Sir, get out of the car.
Don't do that.
Wow.
Don't do. I'm trying to talk to you.
Okay.
I'm trying to talk.
Get out. Just get out of the car.
Can you please
He's trying
relax?
the younger officer is trying to stop it. And there is, they'll have a rookie officer with an older officer for training. And a lot of the times you'll see these older officers trying to show off for the rookie officer. The rookie officer is trying to de-escalate the situation.
Get out. Please relax.
Get out of the car right now.
This is not how you treat a vet. I'm actively serving this country, and this is how you're going to treat me? I didn't do anything. Whoa, hold on. What's going on? Hold on.
What is the point? Why?
Get out of the car.
Spraying him like he's an insect or something. What is your reasonable articulable suspicion for the traffic stop? What is your probable cause for the arrest? Why are you removing him from the car for a simple traffic stop? Again, do you have any indications of dangerousness? What is the purpose of this?
Get out of the car now.
This is terrorism.
Get out of the car now. Sir, just get out of the car.
I'm trying to breathe.
Get out of the car now.
That's fucked up. That's really fucked up.
Get out of the car and get on the ground now. Get.
I don't even want to reach my seatbelt. Can you?
Take your seatbelt off and get out of the car.
Can you please?
Get out of the car now.
Look.
Listen. Take off your seatbelt and get out of the car.
Look, I'm just gonna please.
You're going to do what you're told. Get out of the car.
Look.
Take your seatbelt off and get out.
Look.
Take your seatbelt off.
Look, my hands are out.
It is affecting you more than it's affecting the one who sprayed the pepper spray more than it's affecting the one that he sprayed it into. It is affecting him, but he's not coughing and stuff like it. Good for you. Good for you. I hope he chokes on it.
My hands are out. My hands are out. Please. Please. Look. This is very messed up. My dog is in the back. My dog is choking right
Get
now.
out of the car. Take your seatbelt off. What are you, a specialist? Where are you?
I'm a lieutenant.
Lieutenant, get out of the car. Take your seatbelt off.
Why are you doing this? I still don't know the reason that this is happening. And that's really what my issue is. This is a failure of police community interaction, okay? And that's why those types of regulations help with police community interaction. Why are you stopping this individual? What is the purpose of it? What is the purpose of this stop? What is the purpose of arresting someone? What is the probable cause for the arrest? I fail to see it. Probable cause has to be something that you can state of an arrestable crime. What is the arrestable crime that he has committed?
It's way more what you're going to have if you just comply. Get out of the
For
car.
what?
I'm reaching for my seatbelt.
Fine. Take your seatbelt off and get out of the car. Straight on the ground.
On the
Straight
ground?
Ma'am.
Is your commanding officer
Now,
available?
let's go.
Is your commanding
Let's
officer
go.
available?
Answer his question.
Get on the ground.
He's so violent.
Please talk to
Get
me
on the
about
ground
what's
now.
going on.
Get on the ground and get sprayed again. Get on the ground.
And please talk to me about what's
Get on
going
the ground. Get on the ground now.
Stop it. Stop. So now they're doing those knee strikes, are trying to get his legs to buckle so that he'll fall down on the ground. That's what that is for, so that they can effectuate an arrest. But once again, I've seen no probable cause for an arrest. What's the reasonable articulable suspicion for the traffic stop? What's the traffic stop for?
Yes, sir. You're not. Can you please talk to me about
This is an illegal arrest.
Why am I being treated like this? Why?
You're not cooperating. Get on the ground.
Why am I being treated?
In order, again, police are not dictators, for example, right? And so you don't get to force people to comply with you for no legal reason. The contract we have with our society, with our government, is that the police will stop you for legal reasons, for violations of the traffic code, for violations of the criminal law, to intercede when they might see that there's some type of potential safety issue, right? And if I am correct, this is Virginia, which is my neighboring state. And as I'm aware of, with Virginia, they have to have reasonable articulable suspicion in order to effectuate a traffic stop. What is the articulable suspicion? His inability to articulate it is suspicious to me.
This is really messed up. This is really messed up.
Sir, well, just
Choke.
This is fucked up.
Sir,
This is fucked up.
sir,
This is fucked up. You know this is fucked
lay
up.
down. Lay on the ground. Just lay
You know
flat.
this is fucked up.
Why are you doing this to him? You have to have a reason. Why? Why is this happening?
This is fucked up.
Sir, lay flat. Lay flat.
This is fucked up. I can't fucking believe I'm being treated like this. And I'm fucking you.
Get on the ground. Right there. Right
This is disgusting.
It's dumb. What the fuck?
Get on the ground.
Nothing protects you.
Sir, can you just work with us?
No. What's the
Lay
reason?
down flat. Hold on. Lay down flat.
I think this is an illegal arrest. That is what my assessment of this is. I think this is an illegal arrest. And the only reason I say he should have gotten out of the car was for his own safety, because they were turned up to 10 and looking for a reason to brutalize him. But he wasn't yelling at them. He wasn't screaming at them. He wasn't lunging at them. His arms, they could see his hands at all times. He wasn't running away from them. He wasn't threatening them. He was of no threat to them. There was no reason for them to do this forceful takedown, right? Absolutely none whatsoever. So I only say get out of the car because it gives them less of a reason. But what they were even getting him out of the car, even that is wrong, because I don't see reasonable articulable suspicion for a traffic stop here. I don't see probable cause for an arrest. They're not asking for his license and registration. They're not running his information to see if the car is stolen or not. They're not doing anything. All they're doing is just seeing him and arresting him.
Lay down flat.
This is unconstitutional.
Sir, lay down. I'm gonna take up. Lay down. You're gonna get tased.
Fucked up.
Lay down. You're gonna get tased.
Fucked up.
Tased.
This
All right,
is
now
fucked up.
put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back.
This is fucked up. This is fucked up.
I agree. All you have to do is listen.
You're a demon.
All right.
Shame on you.
Hang on 3. 1, 2.
What is the probable cause for the arrest?
This is fucked up. Can you open up the window for my dog? I hear him choking. Can you open up the window, please?
Yes. Yes, we will.
Stand up, okay? This is fucked up.
Is there any weapons on you, sir? Okay. Any weapons in the vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. What kind? Where are they at? What kind of dog you got?
He's a mix. He's a service animal.
You done pepper sprayed a service animal?
Why did you do that, sir? Why did you do that?
Fine.
Because what is the reason? Why are you doing this to me? As a human being, he wants to know why you're doing this to him. That's why. Because it doesn't make sense to pull someone over for a traffic citation and pull up on them with guns. It doesn't make sense to continue to hold them at gunpoint after you can see that this is a service person. And it doesn't make sense not to state the reason for the stop to this person or the reason for the arrest. That doesn't make any sense. So you are purposefully antagonizing this situation. The one who's in the control of the situation is the police officer, and he's trying to pass the blame on to the motorist. But that's completely wrong.
No, you weren't. You were not. My partner put his blue lights on.
Yes.
You didn't stop.
I was pulling over to a well-lit area for my safety and yours.
You have the right, when you are being stopped by a police officer, to pull over to a well-lit area. It protects you from passing motorists. It protects the officer from passing motorists. And as long as it's not an inordinate amount of time, pulling over into a gas station is a completely rational and reasonable thing for someone to do, especially late at night.
I have respect for law enforcement.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No. Wrong answer, sir. If you did, we would not be in this situation right now. Right.
You came up to him with guns drawn before he even had a chance to even interact with you. And that's the thing, is that you have to realize that starting off situations without courtesy, starting off situations without respect will only reciprocate that type of action towards you. He was not disrespectful to you at all. He was only asking you why you were doing this to him. And so him questioning you is somehow disrespectful. I fail to see it.
Can I get some water, please?
Absolutely. Sit right on this curb right here. Come sit on this curb. Walk backwards. Walk backwards.
Can you get some water? Can you open up the window for my dog, please? I hear him choking.
We already opened it. I'm gonna go grab a ball.
Now you're so nice that you've got him in cuffs. Why are you arresting him? I cut out the section where the younger officer went and got him some water to wash off his face. I want to commend him for that. Okay. License plate. Maybe that's the reason. Oh, there's a temp tag. He's checking the temp tag. That's what he's doing. Okay. So what's the reason? Wait. So at first I was thinking, oh, maybe it's no license plate just now, because I just noticed there's no license plate. But then I saw there was a temp tag and he was reading the temp tag. So what is the purpose for the stop?
We'd be done by now.
Your weapons were drawn and you were getting him out of the car for a simple traffic stop. There was no reason for your weapons to be drawn, especially when you could see exactly who he was. You should have put your guns away. I don't blame him for not trusting or believing you. I think they had every intention of seriously harming this guy. I really, really do. Because the level of aggression that was used for this traffic stop was inordinate in comparison to the type, whatever the stop was for, which he's saying it's a simple traffic stop, but you didn't call it in as a simple traffic stop. Before you saw him, you called it in as a felony traffic stop. What's the felony? What's the felony arrest here?
Look.
No, Lieutenant.
Well-lit area because you're nervous. Yes. The whole BLM movement, you're probably nervous and all that. They feel the same way.
The whole BLM movement, excuse me? It's not only black people that stop in a well-lit area when there's a traffic stop. And what you're insinuating there is that they have every reason to be nervous because he's black? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying right now? Because the whole Black Lives Matter movement is what you mean, has nothing to do with the fact that every motorist has the right to stop in a well-lit area when there's a traffic stop going on, if you have the ability to do so, and if it won't delay it too long for you to make a stop. So the whole BLM movement has nothing to do with not wanting to be hit by a passing motorist. That's why people want to be in a well-lit area. And thankfully, that's where he went so that there's actually witnesses to what's going on. And you can actually see what's happening because it's well lit. And they can't say, oh, we thought he was reaching for a gun and we shot him. And if your concern is that police are being mischaracterized by the Black Lives Matter movement, the response to that would not be to draw your guns on people in the midst of a simple traffic stop for, you haven't even articulated what?
They're nervous for their jobs and their lives. I get where you're coming from.
No, you don't.
Where you're coming from.
No, you don't.
Well, let's let this pepper spray kind of wear off and stuff, and then just have an intelligent conversation with them.
Driving all the way down here. First of all, you pass a well-lit parking lot there, but look at You felt uncomfortable here, okay? Coming here was not the problem. That was not the problem.
Of course that wasn't the problem, because you're allowed to go to a well-lit area. Now, he did say he passed a well-lit parking lot down there. I don't know what he was about to say in response to that, but let's assume that that's the case. Him stopping without you having to chase him. He's driving at a low rate of speed. He clearly wasn't speeding, or else he would have said, I stopped you for speeding. You would have said that, right? So he's driving at a normal speed or a low rate of speed and stopping at a well-lit gas station. That's why he went there. So what is the real reason for the stop? You said that's not the reason. So tell me the reason for the stop. What's the articulated reason for the stop?
When you refuse to get out of the car.
Okay. Get out the car for what? What's the reason for the stop? What's the indication that he's dangerous that makes you need to remove him from the car? With a gun drawn. That, just to be very clear here, the officer can remove him from the car, but he needs to have an indication of dangerousness to do so with his gun drawn, to use that level of force.
You refuse to get out of the car. When we got here and you stepped out of the car, I can promise you, this would have been over by now.
Liar, because you were telling him to put his hands outside the car, and when he had his hands outside the car, you came up with your guns drawn. Liar. He's a liar.
It's not over. You be gone.
You're a liar.
Look, like he said,
What was the reason for the guns being drawn when you asked him to have his hands outside of the car? And he kept saying, hands out the car, hands, and his hands were out the car. Before you even told him to get out the car, you had your gun drawn.
that he don't want to get you in no trouble with your command.
With your command? He's not going to be in trouble with his command. The lieutenant is not going to be in trouble with his command. I can guarantee you that.
We're going to split up. I don't know if I'm going to be in Kuwait or Afghanistan.
This man might be serving our country in Afghanistan, has probably served our country abroad before, given his position. And this is the treatment he gets in his own country. Disgusting. I am so disgusted. Gun came back good.
I don't want you to fall down. I don't know if you hold on. Just relax right there. Lieutenant, what happened? Why wouldn't you comply?
I looked out the mirror and I saw guns drawn.
Exactly. Before you gave him an opportunity to comply, you had your guns on him. You're basically effectuating an arrest at that point, and I still don't even know why you stopped him, and neither does he. He doesn't even know why he's been stopped. He's been pepper sprayed multiple times. He's been put in handcuffs. He's been brought down to the ground. He's being continuously held, and he still doesn't even know why.
I put my hands out.
And we told you, we identified ourselves, we told you to step out of the vehicle.
For what?
And you wouldn't.
For what?
All you have to do is comply. And we'd have been done by now, okay? All right, Mr. Nazario. So, let's go all the way back to square one, okay? I turned around and...
This would have been a nice way to start the interaction instead of ending the interaction like this.
On your food line. I actually came out of Cost Plus, and I came up behind you.
I saw you before you turned.
And you had no tags displayed. I see it, but per the law, it has to be in the license plate bracket. I understand it's paper, and I understand why it's there.
Yes.
But at that time, I had no idea. I didn't know that you had a vehicle registered.
Does it have to be in the license plate bracket? We're going to look at that. We're going to look that up. Okay, so I did some research on Virginia's law, and there is actually not a single law saying that a temporary tag must be affixed to where the normal license plate goes. Instead, it simply says that for regular license plates, they need to be affixed to the front and the rear of the vehicle. And for dealer issued license plates, which are their temporary tags, they need to be affixed to the rear of the vehicle. And it is not reasonable articulable suspicion to justify stopping someone just because an officer misunderstands the license plate law. And that is in Commonwealth v. Howard, which is a 2016 Circuit Court of Virginia case. There's several other cases on that point. Basically, Virginia officers seem to have a very consistent issue with stopping people because of how their temporary tags are displayed. And as long as they're not expired, that is not a basis to stop someone just because a temporary tag is affixed only to the rear of the vehicle or not affixed to the outside of the vehicle. There is no requirement that the temporary tag be affixed to the outside of the vehicle. Like, absolutely nowhere in their statute does that requirement exist. So the entire traffic stop was an illegal traffic stop.
Until I approached your car. And at that point, I was too busy dealing with you to deal with the tag. You want me to wipe your eyes? Okay. So, look, all this was going to be was, hey man, I stopped you. You didn't have a tag. You got your driver's license. I'd have ran you, and you'd have been on your way.
But you didn't do that. You didn't do that. He said to you, what's wrong, officers? What's going on? Why didn't you ask for his license and registration? They were mad because he didn't stop right away. He has already articulated, I stopped because I was coming to a well-lit area. Well, that's not the problem, because that couldn't be the problem, because motorists are allowed to do that. They were mad that he didn't stop right away, and they wanted to put him in control under their authority immediately. That's what it was about. It had nothing to do with the temp tag. They never mentioned anything about the temp tag. And there the temp tag is easy for you to see.
Okay. What would have been a 2-minute traffic stop turned into all this?
Because of you.
As I was telling him, you know, I've pulled over to well-lit areas before, and I've never looked out the window and saw a gun blazing immediately.
So the reason we did that is because we followed you for 1.5 miles with lights and sirens on, and you didn't pull over. I understand you want to get to a well-lit area, a well-lit area. I get that, but when we follow you that long, look at the climate this day, and against everybody, against us, against y'all.
Against y'all. Again, you're racially profiling him. Let me back this up. If in fact he did, I'm gonna be totally fair here. If in fact he did drive for 1.5 miles. So I did a little bit of research, and he said that he first spotted him at the Cost Plus and then stopped him at the BP gas station. That is a 4-minute drive. I'm really not sure if the time between when he spotted him and he turned on his lights was immediate. So did he turn on his lights right away? But giving the officer the benefit of the doubt, this guy drove for 4 minutes before stopping at a well-lit area. I don't think that justifies pulling guns on him. I still don't think that justifies taking your gun out and pointing your gun at him. Okay? I don't think it justifies that. And I don't think it justifies pepper spraying him either, because you're stopping him for a temporary tag. And what you're telling me is that, I mean, look at you. Look what happens to you guys. We're afraid of you like how you're afraid of us. You're racially profiling him. The heightened danger was the color of his skin.
You know what I mean?
Look, I want you to run back and listen to that.
And I know you don't want.
Listen to this. Listen to this.
So the reason we did that is because we followed you for 1.5 miles with lights and sirens on, and you didn't pull over. I understand you want to get to a well-lit area, a well-lit area. I get that, but when we follow you that long, look at the climate this day, and against everybody, against us, against y'all. You know what I mean? Yeah.
He's in a uniform serving his country, but he's y'all. He's y'all. Look at the climate today, against us, against y'all. You know what I mean? So we're afraid because of the color of your skin and not the content of your character. As a temp tag.
When you don't stop and you continue to proceed, our suspicions are raised. What's going on in the car? What don't he want us to see? So you pull into here, and if you were to just comply with the simple commands that we were giving you originally, it would have been done and over with. And you would have got back on your car and you'd be gone by now. But you wouldn't get out the car. You wouldn't comply.
It was just looking out the mirror and seeing your guns out already. That's what I was asking, like, what's going on? I was just...
And not to mention...
Okay, so your indications of dangerousness is that he drove for 1.5 miles before stopping the vehicle. I think that's a long time, right? Let's take them at their word and say, hypothetically, that's what happened, right? Let's say that's what happened. You just ask him to get out of the car. He won't get out of the car. But you didn't just ask him to get out of the car. You drew your guns on him. You pointed guns at him for a temporary attempt tag. That's the whole reason for the traffic stop. It was a temp tag. He wasn't speeding. He wasn't driving erratically. It didn't look like he was driving drunk. He hadn't hit somebody and ran away. It was a temp tag. It was a temp. Think about the thing that you are stopping someone for. And your guns are drawn for a temp tag.
You have just confused. I know you weren't reaching, but not to mention you had.
That's another thing is that like he wasn't reaching. He had his hands where you could see them. He wasn't reaching. He wasn't moving around. He wasn't doing anything. He had his hands where you could see them. He was afraid to even reach for his seatbelt. And you still had your guns drawn. And the other officer was cursing at him, yelling at him, screaming at him, grabbing him, pepper spraying him.
Your right leg. You get our perspective though on the safety issue for us as well. You get that?
Yeah, I do. I do, and that's why I put my hands out and I was asking what.
And when you put your hands,
you could have. And here's the thing: is that I think with Mr. Nazario, Lieutenant Nazario, if he were my client at a Know Your Rights seminar, I would say, get out of the car. Yes, stop in a safe place to stop, but don't drag it out too far. 1.5 miles, too long. I don't know if that's actually what happened, but that's too long. You know what I'm saying? But if I were with these officers, it would certainly be tell him the reason for the traffic stop. Tell him why you stopped him. So it doesn't seem like these guys that are pulling up on him are just stopping him for no reason in the middle of nowhere where it's scary, right? And the other thing is that they had the guns on him immediately, right away.
They were like this outside the window.
They won't admit what their role in it was. They won't admit it.
How do we know nothing's in your hands? And I was telling you, stick your hands out, stick your hands out.
His hands were out.
Then I was having you step out, you wouldn't do any of it.
That's a lie. See, that's a lie. His hands were out of the car. I saw them out from early. I could see them flicker out of the car. That's not true.
You know what I'm saying? Okay? So this can go one or two ways, okay? I don't want to hem you up. I'm going to be straight up with you. You're a good man. You've made lieutenant in the Army. How hard was that? That wasn't an easy task, was it?
No, it wasn't.
And what would this do to your career?
It would hurt you. And I'm in the middle of getting promoted right now anyway, so yeah.
To what, captain or first lieutenant?
To first lieutenant.
Okay. So, and then when we get you out of the car, we have to wrestle with you on the ground just to get your hands behind your back, just to put you in cuffs, just for a safety matter.
For a temporary tag.
You following where we're at? I mean, what would you do if you came across that overseas, If you were infantry and you came across that?
He's not an enemy combatant. He's not overseas. He's in the United States of America. He's a citizen. He was born in this country, serving his country. He shouldn't be treated like an enemy combatant in another country. They have different rules of engagement.
You following me?
No.
You see where we're coming from?
No.
I'm trying to work with you as much as I can.
Doubt it.
I would have never wanted, like I said, it would have been a simple, hey, I see your tag now.
It wouldn't have been as simple that because you came out with your guns out before he could even do anything and he had his hands outside of the car and you were still yelling and screaming at him for him to put his hands outside the car, even though his hands were already outside the car because you guys were too hyped to see what was actually happening. So it would never have been just a simple traffic stop. And you said, you guys are afraid of us. We're afraid of you. What about BLM? You're afraid of him because of the color of his skin, not for any other reason. So no, it doesn't matter what he did. You guys are going to be on 10 no matter what.
Make sure you get it displayed in the proper spot, and you'd have been moving on with your day, and I'd have been moving on with mine.
Doubt it.
Here we are.
Doubt it.
How's your eyes doing, Lieutenant? Better. And I keep calling you Lieutenant. I told you I'm a veteran. I respect rank, okay?
No, you don't respect the rank. No, you don't, because he said, I'm a lieutenant in the Army, and he's like, I'm in the Army too, so what? You don't respect the uniform on him. That doesn't matter to you. And I don't think that this lieutenant should get any special treatment just because he's a lieutenant. All that I'm saying is that it's the high-end insult of the fact that you're serving your country and still treated like a second-class citizen. And again, this lieutenant could have done things differently or better according to what these officers are saying. I don't know if he took 1.5 miles to stop his vehicle. I would think that that's too far, but again, you're driving at a slow rate of speed, so you're clearly not running away, and you pulled over to a well-lit area, so that does show that that's what your intention was. And they came and they got out of the cars with their guns drawn. They were ready for him to do anything to give them a reason to justify deadly force, because drawing your gun puts him at a risk of you shooting him.
Okay, well, I was a corporal in the Marine Corps. I respect rank. However, I do have a job to do, okay? I just talked about chief of police. You asked for a superior. He's off, obviously, right now. Saturday, I called him. He came out, talked. Here's how that's what I was thinking.
So he came out but didn't speak to the civilian or the lieutenant who asked to have a supervisor present. That's irregular. We've seen plenty of these videos where those, sovereign citizens will ask for them for no reason. And when the higher, officer comes out or the superior comes out, they go and they speak to the civilian in order to get their version of events.
I told him what I wanted to do. He said, that's no problem. 2 ways we can handle this. We can either sit here with you until you get your eyes back where you can see, and I mean at a good distance, you're safe to drive, okay? And you're going down the road. Go do your deployment. Go continue serving my country, which I respect and I thank you for.
Your country, our country. Do you guys not hear the undertones here?
Okay? Or we can push the issue, write you tickets for no license plate displayed, and for obstruction of justice.
Here's why he actually couldn't do that. So according to Virginia code, crimes and offenses generally, 18.2-460E, any person who intentionally prevents or attempts to prevent a law enforcement officer from lawfully arresting him with or without a warrant is guilty of a Class 1 misdemeanor. For purposes of this subsection, intentionally preventing or attempting to prevent a lawful arrest means fleeing from a law enforcement officer when the officer applies physical force to the person, or the officer communicates to the person that he is under arrest, and the officer has the legal authority and the immediate physical ability to place the person under arrest. And B, a reasonable person who receives such communication knows or should know that they are not free to leave. Here, we did not have the lieutenant fleeing from the police after they drew down guns on him, so it would not be resisting per the statute. Instead, it would be obstruction of justice, which is a more passive resistance. It's refusal to comport with an officer's lawful command, but that also requires that the command be lawful. You do not have to comport with the command if it is not lawful. Also, the officers effectuated an arrest when they drew on him with their weapons, because clearly he was not free to leave. But the most important factor is that they were not effectuating a lawful arrest, so this could not have been resisting arrest. The reason for the stop was no valid legal reason, since there is no law that prohibits a person from affixing a temporary tag to the inner windshield, rear windshield of their vehicle. In addition, they had no probable cause to effectuate an arrest, since they had no reason to stop him in the first place. So since they were effectuating an illegal arrest, the lieutenant was never resisting arrest. There are 2 cases which establish this mandate, the first being a 1998 case, Brown v. Commonwealth, 497 SE 2D 527, which states that a defendant is allowed to forcefully resist against an unlawful arrest as long as the force is proportional. And the other case is Jackson v. Brickney, which is a federal case, 771 F Sup 2D 593, that says that there was sufficient evidence to find that the obstruction of justice charge, which is akin to resisting arrest, against the defendant was lacking in sufficient probable cause because the defendant was resisting against an unlawful arrest. Here, when the officers pulled their guns on the lieutenant and the lieutenant refused to get out of the vehicle, he was resisting against an unlawful arrest, which he is allowed to do according to the laws of the state of Virginia. Yeah, because it's not resisting. He didn't fight with y'all. And I think Virginia has the same thing we have. It has to be a forceful resisting. So they're saying obstruction of justice, but you never told him the reason for the traffic stop. So he didn't know why you rogue officers that were pulling guns on him were even pulling him out of his car.
I'm going to go that route because that route makes the Army get involved.
What?
I know how they are. Deployment.
Wait, is this...
What I wanted to do, he said that's...
Are these threats? Is this bribery? Is this a quid pro quo? While you're in your uniform, telling him you'll let him go? Or else? I might be mishearing this. Let's go.
No problem. Two ways we can handle this.
Uh-huh.
We can either sit here with you until you get your eyes back, where you can see, and I mean at a good distance, you're safe to drive, okay?
Okay.
And you're going down the road. Go do your deployment, go continue serving my country, which I respect and I thank you for, okay? Or we can push the issue, write you tickets for no license plate displayed, and for obstruction of justice. I don't even go that route, because that route makes the Army get involved, and I know how they are. You don't know this. The Army, he'll vouch for it, because he's been in and he's got friends that are legal officers. I know. The military is the only place where the military is the only place where double jeopardy exists legally. Because whenever we do them, the Army can turn around and jam for the same thing. I don't want to say.
Oh, he's trying to say double jeopardy doesn't exist. So he's like, if we write you, okay, so what he's saying is, if we write you the tickets, you will get jammed up with the Army. If we don't write you the tickets, you can go on about your day. Because the Army can, and the military will, court-martial people for things that they've done in the civilian world. They're also subject to the Army's jurisdiction. Is that what he's saying? Is that what he's saying? Let's see.
It's going to happen. Okay. You're obviously a second lieutenant. You ain't been in very long. But if you plan on making a career or even 6 years or whatever, it's up to you. I don't care. There's no need getting this on your record. I don't want your record. However, it's entirely up to you. If you want to fight and argue, I mean, and I don't mean disrespectfully, okay? I mean, you have that right as a citizen. If that's what you want, we'll charge you, have you go to court, notify the command, do all that, or we can take time out of our night, which is not a problem. We're being paid to take care of people, okay? We'll sit here with you, get your eyes back. You and, what's your dog's name? Smoke? It's a badass name for a badass dog. You and Smoke can get on down the road, okay? It's entirely...
Is he telling him, don't pursue anything with this and we won't write you any tickets and we'll send you on your way? But if you try to turn this into something, we're going to write you tickets and you're going to get in trouble with the Army? On body cam? Is this what you're saying?
What do you want to do? I got no problem. I'll sit here with you till you get your eyes back and send you on down the road. Okay? I don't want to charge you. I will. It's my job. I don't want to.
Okay.
The chief's giving me discretion on how to handle it. He's like, these are the two choices.
Okay.
I said, that's what I was thinking. That's what I want to do. He's like, not a problem. We can either let it go, help him out, get his eyes back, and get him on down the road so the Army doesn't get involved, or we can charge you, and then it's a big hassle for you.
Okay.
It doesn't change my life one way or the way. You see what I'm saying? It's not about me. This is about you.
Are we sure?
What you want to do. If you want to just chill, let this go, and no charges filed, we'll take the handcuffs off, we'll get your bottle of water to drink on, and sit here until you feel comfortable driving. All right? Or the other option is we write the summons, discharge you, and by then we have the choice. We have to notify your command. And again, I don't have to be an ass.
You actually don't have to notify his command. You're not mandated to do that. But why would the lieutenant need to let it go in order for them not to charge him? What does letting it go mean? If you know that you did what you were supposed to do, then what would he need to let go of? Let what go? Let it go how? And why would that impact whether or not you would charge him? That's a quid pro quo. And that's improper, and you're in uniform.
To be threatening, I say that because that's just the way it is.
You are saying that to be threatening, and he said it multiple times. I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. I was like, maybe I'm misunderstanding him. I'm not misunderstanding him. I know a quid pro quo when I hear one. And that was definitely, you let this thing go, and we'll let it go. Don't pursue it, and we'll let it go. Otherwise, we're going to notify the Army. We're going to charge you. It's going to be a big hassle. You're threatening his career and his pecuniary interests, his penal interests, excuse me, if he doesn't just let this thing go.
Or the other option is we write the summons, discharge you, and by then we have the choice. We have to notify your command. And again, I don't have to be an ass. I don't have to be threatening. I say that because that's just the way it is. Okay? I just talked to my boss. Those are the two choices that he gave me. Personally, as a veteran who served, okay, I did 6 years in the school. My wife's a retired sailor. She retired as a EA out of the Navy. Okay? I don't want to see you get jammed up by the Army.
Really?
Okay? I don't want to see it happen. If you need to spit, just let us know. Go ahead and spit. Because we've both been sprayed, so we know what it's like. It sucks. If you need to spit, go ahead and spit. You're not going to offend us. All right. What do you want to do, Lieutenant? I'll let you tell me because nobody's going to.
This is highly irregular and improper. I mean, if you want to just let it go because you want to just let it go, but you don't tell the arrested that he needs to let it go. That's type of street justice nonsense is that? What's going on here?
Accident charges. So you know, I'm not going to accident that. I understand that. However, I have to make that option available to you, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, who's going to ask to be charged, right? So what are you saying? You're the one who makes the ultimate decision. What is he talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I have to. So here's what I want to do.
No.
Especially as calm as you've been since everything ended. I want to take the handcuffs off, let you sit here with smoke. We'll sit here and wait with you. Let your eyes come back. Okay, because it takes anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes depending on how much actually got in the eyeball itself before you can really see well how to drive, especially at night. Okay? We'll sit here with you. And then we'll get you on down the road.
Okay.
And the command won't know nothing about it.
I don't know about that.
All right?
I do have a good rapport with my command, so I wouldn't feel right not talking to them about it. So
that's the time.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Exactly. And the thing is that even if it doesn't result in an arrest, I think you have to tell, you know, my uncle was in the military, I think, and my best friend is in the military. I think you would have to tell them about an interaction like this. Even if it's just so that they can protect you or to make sure you don't have any issues or anything like that. You have to have candor with them. So you're trying to like inveigle him into being corrupt with you, and that's real icky. I don't like that.
Put it this way then for you.
You don't care about him.
Hear from you. They will not hear from us. I'll give you that much respect, okay?
You don't have anything to do with it anyway. You know what I'm saying? He has an obligation to tell his commanding officer if he gets arrested, if any of these type of things. He was arrested here, even though he wasn't charged. He has an obligation to tell his commanding officer there. You don't have an obligation to tell his commanding officer anything. If you do that, it's because, you know, maybe in a situation where a police officer is not being shady, they might say, you know what? This guy was really, really drunk and I'm concerned about him. I think his commanding officer has to know a guy like that shouldn't be in the military. This person hurt some people. Their commanding officer has to know he had a domestic violence incident. I feel compelled to tell his commanding officer to alert the Army that they've got someone in there that has all these issues. But you don't have a legal obligation to just, you know, say, oh, I stopped this guy in a traffic stop. And the threat to do so is improper. There's definitely implicit threat there, right? There's an implicit threat, and it's almost explicit in nature.
Because I understand, I told you, I was in for 6 years. It's always better for the man to hear it from you than somebody else, especially in law enforcement. That's never a good thing.
I'm glad he didn't agree to that.
I get it, okay? I get the climate we're in right now.
The climate.
The climate we're in, what the media is doing with the race relations between minorities and law enforcement, I get it, okay? So like I told you, As far as you not stopping and you're uncomfortable and you want to well this spot, because that happens all the time.
Right. You heard him? You okay? Because I can already hear you guys in my head going like, well, he did take 1.5 miles. And again, I have my doubts. I have my doubts about that. But did you hear? Let's turn on the closed captioning. Maybe it'll pick it up. Come on. Play it back, DJ. Let's go.
I get it, right?
Listen.
So like I told you, as far as you not stopping and you're uncomfortable and you want to well this spot, because that happens all the time. It happens to me a lot. And it's I would say 80% of the time, not always, 80% of the time, it's a minority. And I totally get it.
Case closed. He just said, you said how you wanted to stop at a well-lit spot. It happens all the time. Happens like 80%. It happens all the time. And let me tell you something. 80% of the time, it's a minority. A thing that you were statutorily allowed to do, which is stop in a well-lit place for your safety and the officer's safety. And you are using that as a basis to say that this person is dangerous. It's not new. It is a well-practiced thing that motorists will stop in well-lit areas. And because you know that minorities do it more, you're taking that as a reason to call him dangerous. You are making this about his race. Oh, I have to have a heightened sense of security. I have to have my gun out because you stopped in a well-lit area, and it's minorities that mostly do that. You know, with everything that's going on with the Black Lives Matter, you guys, with the BLM, you guys are afraid of us, and we're afraid of you, so I have to have my gun out. That is literal racial profiling right there in the video. And again, I still haven't heard a reasonable articulable suspicion for the stop because I see the tag right there. And let's say that the tag is not in the right place. That's not a reason to arrest. Why didn't you ask for his license and registration? Not once. Not once until after they had him in cuffs did they ask for his license and registration. Did this happen back in December? I'm just noticing the Christmas trees. Did this happen in December? This happened in December. Wow. And it's only just now coming to light. It's a minority. It's a minority. Yeah, that's what he said. And that officer was fired. And of course he was. First of all, there was no reasonable articulable suspicion for this traffic citation. The officer said that he followed this guy for approximately 4 minutes before stopping him because of his temporary tag being improperly affixed. Yet, according to Virginia code, the temporary tag was not improperly affixed. Then they effectuated an arrest on him without probable cause, never giving him the reason for why he's being pulled over. And they pull guns on him and they pepper spray him. And then they try and leverage their position as police officers and his position as a lieutenant in order to get him not to pursue any legal actions against them because of the illegal arrest. All around, this was bad form, but I would love to see what you guys think in the comments section down below. I do want to say that the younger officer does seem like he deserves another chance and retraining. He did try to de-escalate the situation several times, and it seemed like the older officer was the primary aggressor in this bad arrest. I'd love to know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!